Welcome to the Pipeline Award-winning show. As always, I am your host, Jason Gibbs. You can find me on Twitter at Pipeline_. You can find me coming through your speakers right now. Week 3 on tap, huge college football week, even bigger college football week lingering, but we don't skip any weeks, no weeks skipped. But let me bring in my partner in crime, Roy. Roy, what do we think right now? Week 3, big games. Obviously, next week, bigger games are lingering, but every week college football brings in, and this week won't be any different.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was 2 weeks ago. I kind of got chastised. Last week's episode, you chastised me saying 2 weeks ago wasn't that fun. You were like, well, to a pure college football fan, unlike yourself, it was great. And so, I've learned from that mistake, and I will say this week does kind of suck, but that's okay because for pure college football fans,
you're just being contrarian. That's all it is. You're just being contrarian.
There are some good games. Now, there's
always good games, but yes.
Who doesn't love Civil War in the middle of September?
Actually, right? let's talk about that, because I did want to talk about that game, because obviously it's going to be a blowout. Oregon State at Autzen. I think it's the Ducks are 34.5 point favorites. What are they? Yeah, 34.5 point favorites.
With a 56 over under.
It's really sad because this game used to mean so much when we were talking about Pac-10, even Pac-12. Last game of the year, one of them was always ruining the other one's season or upsetting them. Half the time it was played in like rain or sleet or snow. And now we're getting in September. It's obviously not a conference game anymore. It's a 5 touchdown spread. I hadn't done multiplication tables yet, but it makes me sad. And also I do think about this. Oregon State just beat Oklahoma State 69-3. And now, what would the line have been if Oregon played Oklahoma State?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of absurd, and that's another program, right? Oklahoma State. We don't have to go down that, but Oregon State, you miss the likes of the days of TJ Houshmandzadeh and those guys, pushing
DJ
out.
Uiagalelei.
Well, those are your recent ones.
But Beaver fans just fainted right now.
He wasn't bad for them. I mean, he swindled FSU because of them. So
it wasn't bad. Yes,
it wasn't bad. To be honest, they had a very good running back that year. So anyway, we won't dive too much into it. But yeah, unfortunately, it does look it stinks, right? You like these rivalry games to mean something, and they're playing in the middle of September because of the conference realignment. Just that's kind of like the downfall, right? You get these amazing matchups, but these are kind of the cons of all that. So
yeah, I mean, think about it. Think about like the Oklahoma playing Alabama or something. That would be a matchup where like, wow, that's really, really cool. I mean, obviously they're not playing this week, but I'm just giving you for example, SEC matchup. You get the weird ones like we do have this week. Michigan State at USC kicks off at 8 o'clock, which would be 11 o'clock their time, I think. So those are the weird ones. I don't really like those. I didn't really agree with Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC. I liked them in the old Big 8, Big 12, SWC. I wish they kind of all stayed there. The USCs and the Washingtons and the Oregons coming to the Big 10, that one bothered me the most. And like we said, the Pac-12 dissolved. We get the rivalry game. It's rivalry game in quotes. It's barely going to even cause a blip on the map unless somehow the Beavers come through, and that would be they'd be riding high then. But if we just look at games, big conference games this week, I think we're gonna have to start one with Texas Tech Utah. It's a big noon kickoff.
Yeah,
kind of weird. I think that's 10 o'clock local time, right? Is it Utah?
Utah, yeah.
So weird kickoff. Obviously, The TV contracts come into play. Neither team really has played anybody yet. I think we're going to kind of find out who's going to take a sizable lead and be the Big 12 favorite when it comes to this game.
Yeah, and how do they play at 10 o'clock in the morning? I mean, that's a.
I wonder if we sneak on the under there. Totals at 56.5. I wonder if maybe a sleepy morning, something to think about.
Maybe do they sell breakfast at the stadium? Right? Are we getting a double dipper here, where the first 30 minutes of the kickoff,
beer and eggs, kick off the game with some beer
exactly.
and eggs.
There you go, kegs and eggs. So kegs and eggs to start it up, and let's go. Again, interesting matchup. One that a casual college football fan will just say, "Oh, two ranked teams, that looks fun." But like you just said, very big implication for that conference. Who can kind of set the tone? I mean, I think we would all say we don't really know if these teams are for real. Just like you just said, they haven't really played much. Texas Tech's always fun to watch. Utah's always hard nosed, good coaching. Yeah, I mean, I probably would say this is a game that you don't mind if you have to go travel for a wedding, right? You're not. Really
That's not true. That's not true. You're really discrediting yourself left and right.
Sorry, I just want to make sure that they know the East Coast bias.
Okay. If Lions Utes -3.5. If I had to lean, we don't know enough about these teams for me to invest heavily. I'd lean Utes there at home, like we said, sleepy kickoff. And to your point, Kyle Whittingham, I think one of the most tenured college coaches in the country. I think he's been there 24 years.
Wow.
Hard-nosed, tough team. Normally, we'll really find out on Saturday when it comes to noon. But speaking of the conference realignment, and I use the arbitrary example, Oklahoma, Alabama, we actually get Oklahoma and Auburn, Alabama's rival, for an in-conference game. Still difficult for me to get used to thinking of Oklahoma in the SEC, but they're there. This game's going to matter. John, it's elementary material. Heisman favorite, or one of the Heisman favorites coming in the year. 3 interceptions to only 5 touchdowns. It's not the greatest ratio, obviously. I want him to take care of the ball a little bit more. The Sooners laying 7 and a hook. Auburn kind of sneakily coming on. They beat Baylor first game of the year. This would be such a feather in Hugh Freeze's cap if somehow the Tigers could go into Norman. And think about Oklahoma. They've already played the Michigan Wolverines there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not letting up. Auburn coming in and Auburn really wanting to get this victory.
Yeah, it's another test for Oklahoma. The line suggests it's not that big of a test, but 7.5 they're giving the Sooners. Obviously, that hook with the home crowd, probably the reason you're getting that line. But Auburn, they've got some spark to them, right? They are already road tested. I mean, that win at Baylor was pretty convincing, and Baylor looks to be a pretty good team. So, first week of the season, going into hostile territory, getting that win on a Friday, right? That was a nationally televised game where they were on the spotlight. So impressive for them to have that. So
yeah, two touchdown win. Yeah, they handled them up pretty much the whole game, handling them the whole time.
And they controlled the line of scrimmage against a pretty tough Baylor defense. The key here is going to be that Oklahoma defense as well.
Right.
They gave up a big chunk play to Michigan for 75-yard touchdown on the opening kickoff because somebody had the over. And then they kind of clamped down from there. And really, Michigan, not the best, right? Young quarterback, that environment, 3rd and 4th downs, couldn't face it. Auburn, though, a little bit more battle-tested, can rely on the run a little bit better. I think you gotta give the. To me, I'm leaning Auburn. That plus 7.5. That hook seems like a good spot.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think honestly, when you have games like Auburn has, in which every year they play the Iron Bowl, it just becomes infused in your blood. I'm not saying they're going to go out and win every time. I'm not saying they're gonna, win a national title, go undefeated, or anything like that. And obviously, they've had some downtrodden years the last few years, but it's just there. And I don't think the 3:30 kickoff. It's not a night game for one.
Yeah.
I'm with you. If nothing else, I'm hoping that hook keeps my head above water. I like the hook there.
Yeah, definitely.
Another 3:30 game, and this isn't both teams ranked, but this might end up being the game of the day, or at least the most intriguing game of the day. Michigan, the aforementioned Wolverines, going to the Sea of Red, Nebraska. This has to be the biggest game in Nebraska at Memorial Stadium in 10, 15 years. I don't know, maybe longer. I'd have to kind of go back in the annals and look it up. Michigan only 1.5 point favorite, and even that, it's going to be iffy. It's definitely going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska's, to be fair, I mean, every home opener for Nebraska is always the biggest game that they've ever had because the season is going to be that much greater for them. So the pressure is always there. However, this one, this late in the year, being undefeated has been remarkable for Nebraska of late. So, you got to tip your cap to them. 3-0, facing the Michigan team, already tested on the road. Yeah, give Michigan credit, right? Their schedule has not been that soft. I mean, they played a cupcake last week, but they've been able to, they had big games have now been on the road in 2 out of 3 weeks. So I don't know. I like you said, I do believe that the total here is a bit accurate, 47.5. So you're going to get kind of a slugfest. You're going to get kind of a sloppy game. I think that crowd's going to be electric. Yeah. Really wish it was a night game, to be honest. This is one that I would like to see Nebraska fans get that night game against Michigan.
That would be a good one. Just the whole Sea of Red lit up. That would have been nice.
Yeah, it would have been good pageantry and stuff, but CBS needed it. So they took the 3:30 game. I do like Nebraska here. I am not impressed with Michigan so far, and I think they have a big win and open up their Big Ten season on the right side.
Yeah, so there's a couple things in play. We obviously have Patrick Mahomes Jr. and Dylan Raiola having a great year so far, 829 yards, 8 touchdowns. So he's looking the part, even the little hand gestures where he mimics Mahomes.
It's weird. Come on, it's weird.
It's
weird. I mean, rumors is he bought his girlfriend a boob job as well. Which
okay.
Just this summer, just because.
Don't we all? But Bryce Underwood, we already mentioned it a second ago when we were talking about Oklahoma, goes into Norman, didn't perform well, like you said. It seemed like a little bit like they had the training wheels on him.
Yeah.
Does he pull from that experience and kind of settle down for what will be an absolute frenzied crowd? I know it's a 3:30, and I know CBS maybe made the biggest blunder in sports history, or maybe television history, by dropping the SEC and having these Big Ten games. Although I think this game will live up to it. It's going to be a great game. I don't know. That 1.5 is so small. I don't know. I would probably lean Nebraska, but I might go under the 47.5 total. Each team feeling each other out. Neither team wants to start out Big Ten play 0-1, because this is Big Ten's obviously going to be an absolute slugfest the whole year. So you don't want to fall too far behind. But if I had to lean, I guess I'd lean Nebraska. But I kind of like the total a little bit more there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If you're really feeling it, go Nebraska total under, parlay it.
There we go. That's how you make money. The hedge master himself, speaking of already, teaching you how to hedge before the game's even started. Now, how about this? The battle for the real Columbia. Will the real Columbia please stand up? South Carolina at Mizzou. And unfortunately, we don't get the quarterback matchup that I wanted. because I believe Lenore Sellers is out. He obviously had that injury, but one of the sneakiest, best quarterbacks in the entire country, Roy, is Bo Perbula from Mizzou, former Penn State Nittany Lions. And I believe I mentioned this last pod, had quite a few Nittany Lion fans say they really wish they could have kept Perbula. In fact, some of them wanted him over Drew Aller. And he's really living up to it. 791 yards, 7 touchdowns, only 1 interception. I know they haven't played the world beaters, but they did play Kansas, and that was a big rivalry game. Performed well in there. Now will be the test. So you have that as a backdrop, and you have South Carolina falling a little flat. They obviously had the loss. And something I brought up on Twitter, which make sure you follow me on Twitter at Pypeline_. What do you think about the idea? Because I had a spectrum of responses from this. What do you think about the idea of this offseason, Virginia Tech throwing the absolute kitchen sink and trying to get Shane Beamer as head coach?
Yeah, you're if you're Shane Beamer, of course, right? You got to think that that's in the back of your mind of just the legacy there.
Now, I will say this. Publicly, he said he doesn't want to follow in his father's shadow.
Yeah.
And I think it's safe to say that he will make more money at South Carolina.
Well, and you could also argue that he's already built up a better program, right, in a harder conference. But so the recruiting side of it in South Carolina may be a little bit easier than Virginia Tech, given the proximity of the conferences and schools, what have you. However, I would say this, going back to the game. If Sellers is going to be out for an extended amount of time, and which we don't expect it, right? But even if he is, you could get yourself aware he is maybe taking one more year at school to help his stock, to help his stuff, which could keep the coach around obviously a little bit longer. I am a little bitter, to be honest, about this game. I had a 5-game parlay last week. I did reference on the pod last week. And the only loss was South Carolina to Vanderbilt, which I said.
It's always personal.
I said it on the pod last week. You were going to hate my South Carolina Vandy pick, and you were a little puzzled. Now you understand why.
Right.
Shout out to Theo Vaughn getting his date.
That's true. The play of the week. We need to have, you know what, next pod we need to have plays of the week. That would have been number 1 this week.
That would have been number 1. So, when Sellers went down in the second quarter, I just stared at my phone and, just knew it was going to happen. And it could have been, sorry, Jason, we're going to get a little off track here because it is personal.
Yes.
It would have been the greatest parlay I'd ever hit. You know why?
That can't be true.
We're trying to get some viewers.
Okay.
It would be the greatest parlay I would ever hit.
Okay.
It
I'm
was
on the edge of my seat. Yes, go.
The final leg of that parlay.
All right.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Was the Dallas Cowboys to beat the New York Giants. In one of the easiest games you could ever pick.
Right. You had to be on. And I guess the parlay was dead at that point. But
it was, but my DGen ass, you know what I did?
Yeah.
I knew that South Carolina was going to be the only pick, so I doubled down and parlayed the remaining picks with the Dallas Cowboys at the end. Nice. So I had hit all the others and just had the Cowboys. So I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
And when Russell Wilson hit Neighbors with like 13 seconds left, the most ridiculous rainbow throw that Russell Wilson hasn't hit since he was Seahawks against the Broncos in the Super Bowl. I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, but, it all worked out. 60-yard field goals later. All worked out.
Nice.
Anyway, back to the game. Mizzou beats them bad. Backup quarterback for South Carolina, unfortunately, just does not have the moxie that you need to win these types of games, especially on the road, which is unfortunate because that will put South Carolina 0-2 in the SEC. And
going back to my tweet, when I was talking about Beamer possibly following his dad. Now, people brought up, hey, he doesn't want to follow his dad, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I get that. That's a valid angle, possibly. I also think that there's a little bit of cachet in following your dad. You probably don't have to work the boosters quite as hard.
Mm-hmm.
You already kind of have that built-in infrastructure. You have a kind of a sneaky great talent area in the DMV area
Yeah, you do.
that you could mine, and people would say, oh, why would he want to do that? Because why would he want to leave the SEC to go to the ACC? That's exactly why. I mean, which mountain is harder to climb, the SEC or the ACC? I mean, it, you win your conference, you're in the playoffs. And
Right.
Virginia Tech does have, it's not like they have no history. They've been good for years. And I know they've fallen off in recent years, but I don't know. I mean, I think he would have to take a pay cut, and there's probably some sort of buyout issues, and there is his dad's shadow. But the worst that happens is he tells Virginia Tech no. I think Virginia Tech should make a run at it.
I mean, Virginia Tech got to do something right.
Yeah.
I don't mean to, dismiss South Carolina by any stretch, but it does have name recognition. But if you're Virginia Tech, do you want to pay it?
Yeah.
Do you want to pay it? That I think. Who knows? Who knows in this landscape now?
Yeah, we'll have to see, because your only other option is I don't know. You're gonna have to get some sort of up and comer. I don't know, maybe Jamie Chadwell from Coastal Carolina. I just don't know if that's gonna be enough. But anyway, we'll save that for the on season. Right now, we're gonna focus on the season, and we're going to one of your favorite areas, the battle for Florida. Florida, a 1-2 Florida, staring a 1-3 at the face.
There is a trophy involved in this one, I believe.
Is there?
I think it's the Battle of the Canoe.
Is it really?
Yeah, I remember back in my days on NCAA football, it being one of the trophies that was circling around when you had it. Trophy, Miami versus Florida trophy, Seminole War Canoe Trophy. How odd is that? The Miami Hurricanes versus Florida Gators are fighting for the Seminole War Canoe Trophy.
Okay, that's going on Twitter tomorrow.
So it was given to the annual award from 1950 to 1987. Miami has won the final game of the yearly series in 1987. Due to the SEC expansion, the trophy was retired. We should bring it back. Well, you can bring it back, right? We have digital trophies now. We can NFT this thing. So we can actually create an NFT of these trophies and then gift it to the players that win.
Let's trademark all this before we publish this episode. All right, we don't want to.
Yeah, if anybody steals this, remember, you don't have.
You owe us at least some sort of.
Yeah, we want the NFT back. We need the free NFTs of anything you do. But anyway, yeah. So okay, going to this game. I mean, Florida. Wow, you're again. We said it last week. Penthouse to the outhouse in a couple weeks, and Miami unfortunately did not do them a solid last week and allow Florida a loss to the number one team in the country. So can Florida muster up enough to beat a very good Miami team that just looked the part against South Florida last week? I don't know. Your boy Carson Beck, 812 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 picks.
I've sang his praises all year. Look,
he
was on the
Carson Beck.
I was begrudgingly driving the Carson Beck hype train.
Yeah.
I was begrudgingly driving it, but I look like a genius. But look, we're talking about Florida staring 1-3 in the face. Let's talk about the rest of their schedule. Let's go through it lightning quick. Texas, next game. At Texas A&M, the game after that. Mississippi State at home. Maybe you win that game, and then Georgia at home. That's cocktail parties. That won't be at home. But at Kentucky, maybe a winnable game. And then at Ole Miss, Tennessee at home. And then you end the year with Florida State, who's obviously much improved. I mean, Roy, how many wins are we talking this year? 3, maybe?
Well, if you're a Florida fan, you're just saying burn it all to the ground, right? Because that will end Billy Napier's tenure. the worst thing you could have is like lose this game and then they go on a run.
They got
They
they kind of stay there. They give you
yeah,
hope at the end.
yeah.
I need to be able to get the groomers started. I need to get the groomers going again. I need John Gruden to Florida. I got to get something going. I got to get Napier out of there. So I'm hoping they lose this week. 9.5, not the biggest line in the world, but I just, how in the world could you have any faith in DJ Lagway after his horrible game, 5 interception game versus LSU? I'm with you. Miami looks the part. Hurricanes win. I'm going to say they win handily.
Yeah, I would say Miami probably takes care of business here. And if a bad enough loss, again, it's always looming. Will they fire him on the Lane Kiffin style on the tarmac?
At halftime, will they fire him?
Yeah. the unfortunate thing here is, Florida. You feel for their fans a little bit, but at the same token, again, you got a schedule that can turn this thing around.
That's
you
true.
win one of these games, and it sparks it all back up. But you're running out of time. You can't lose 4 in a row and then go. So, obviously this will be their third if they lose in a row, and that's a tough one to pill. Fun Gruden story today, though. It happened to me. My buddy, I was listening to Gruden's preview of the Buffalo Bills Miami Dolphins game.
Okay.
Barstool. My buddy had said it. He said, "You got to listen to it. It's funny." So I was listening to it. Started. So my buddy called in the middle of it, and I was in a drive-through to go order some food. So I told my buddy, "Like, hey, I got to go. Let me order this food." So I go and I order the food, and this very nice lady, and I'm ordering the food, and so since I hang up the phone, my YouTube kicks on in my car and auto plays, and it's Gruden yelling very loud cuss words towards a female that it sounds like on the podcast or on this preview. So he wasn't directing the conversation to a female, but he said, "You effing B," that. That blast out of my speakers in the middle of me ordering this food to the lady. So John Gruden to me is a bit unhinged at the moment. So fueling those rumors could actually release an unhinged response from him.
Nice.
So I'm all for it. And I think the Florida fans are as well. So as we're getting closer and closer to these rumors, the Urban Meyer rumors, right?
Bring him back, everybody.
You know what? Why not go after Kyle Whittingham, right? Yeah, it worked once. Grab the Utah coach, bring him over.
Break the what was the 10-year streak I just talked about. I think Kirk Ferentz is the only one that's longer, but so like you said, there are opportunities to make some noise. Gator fans probably don't want to cheer against themselves. But remember what Littlefinger said, chaos isn't a pit, it's a ladder. So we'll see if Florida can climb out of the chaos.
Not a bad game against LSU, though. I mean, DJ was horrible, but the team overall was not.
Well, think about this. 5 interceptions, and they only lost by 10.
Yeah,
so
I mean, he only throws 2.
You're kind of right in it, even with 5 interceptions.
Yeah, he throws 2, they're in it. They win it.
Yeah, that's probably true. Which I think we have to look this up. Actually, look this up. Pypeline stats and info. Get them on this right now. What is the NCAA record for most interceptions in a game? I want to say it's a Florida Gator has it. I think it's 9. I think it was some dude in the 60s or something. It's like 9 interceptions in a game.
It is a Florida Gator. Good memory. John Reeves at 1969. Nice. November 1st. And the record is 9. Very well. Man. Very nice. That was good.
Lagway should have gone for it last game, but
the AI, hold on, real quick, says this statistic is a prominent example of a bad or negative record in the college football history.
Thanks, AI.
AI is on it.
I think we can, when we get responses like that, we can allay our fears that AI is about to take over the world, or at least the sports world at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Roy, let's wrap up this week's preview with one of the more intriguing games on the field, but really intriguing line wise. And I'm, of course, talking about Big Ten matchup, Peacock matchup, NBC, Illinois at the Fighting Signettis. You know what? We should see if we can get Kurt Signetti on the show because friend of the program, Kurt Signetti. Let's keep that. Let's put that in the back of our minds. See if we can get Signetti on the show at some point. But this line's kind of all over the place. I want to say it started out at Indiana 3.5. Maybe get Pipeline stats and info on that as well. I think it started at 3.5. It's been steamed all the way up to Hoosiers -6.5. However, RLM reverse line movement. From all I can tell, the money's pouring in on Illinois. So this almost seems like a slam dunk for the Hoosiers.
It is. The line is obnoxious. It did open up at 3. It is now, teetering on that number.
Yeah,
right?
So you're almost going from one key number to the next, and that's with money, like I said, as far as I can tell so far, coming in on the Illini. Very curious.
It is. It makes you wonder, right? Vegas always knows, right? The
somebody somewhere knows, as the great Lee Corso said. Somebody somewhere knows something.
My buddy also texted me wanting to bet on in Illinois. So that is always one of those interesting moments. The line is obnoxious. There's no doubt about it. So, I mean, if you're an Illinois fan, you can't be feeling great seeing that line, but you go and you show up. I mean, earlier this year, they were just like a 3-point favorite against Duke, and they came in and they waxed them. So,
and in fact, Illinois, there are quite a few accounts online that were talking about this game in the on season, so before the season even started, and they said, "Oh, this is a obvious going to be a ranked team going in there, and it's going to be an obvious Duke win." And it wasn't just a Duke loss; it was a handling by Illini. And of course, let's sing the praises of Luke Altmaier: 709 yards, 8 touchdowns, really playing a part for Illini. And when I see weird lines like that, I just can't bring myself to back the public. There's nothing worse than a public underdog, and that seems to be where the money's pouring in. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Illini is just going to prove everyone wrong all year, but I feel like they're overvalued at this point. Even ranked 9th, I wouldn't have them ranked that high. And I'm going to go Hoosiers here, even though the line has continued to creep toward the next key number.
So the Illinois game, I was in that out-of-state soccer tournament following it instead of watching my son play. So I had some skin in the game. So the Illinois-Duke game was actually close, with Duke having the lead at halftime, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was the second half that just kind of got away from the Blue Devils, which seems to be a pattern so far this year for them. So with that said, if Illinois does come out sluggish like they did before, Indiana can come out and you can get boat raced pretty quick with their offense and the way they play. So it is imperative that Illinois slows it down, controls it, and can score some points in the first half, because they can't afford to play catch up against Indiana. Intriguing though.
Do you parlay since the Illini line's getting a little wonky, do you parlay the under, thinking that they need to slow this game down, 52.5?
It's hard to parlay the under with Indiana. It's just, you just never know. They've got that sneaky ability to just not care and just keep going.
Friend of the program, Kurt Signetti, does not take any crap from anyone. He loves running the score.
I am flabbergasted at sometimes the way Indiana scores can get kind of out of hand as a veteran of trying to bet their under. So one of the games, though, sneaky good game, I wanna close off for you. is don't discount Tulane versus Ole Miss.
Okay.
So, Ole Miss, of course, battling some injuries at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Tulane, sneaky good team, 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are not familiar, they beat aforementioned Duke last week, 34-27.
Hold on, let's give some love to the G5 and Tulane.
Yeah.
Look, your quarterback gets paid $5 million to go to Duke, Darian Mensah, and then you go in and beat Duke, said quarterback and team.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
Very
and
impressive.
Then you troll the heck out of him on Twitter about it. So
the line opened up at 13.5. It's actually gone down just a point, 12.5, obviously for Ole Miss. I've bet Ole Miss a few times this season so far, so I've paid attention to them.
I do remember that. I think we recanted a story last week when you were speeding toward the state line to get that.
Lane Kiffin does love to keep that number close.
He obviously we should check his DraftKings account. He obviously is aware of the line, so
I believe, and I need to make sure of this, I believe that also the line came into play last week with Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check here. Yeah, Arkansas, that was a 6-point win. The spread was 4.5 revs, so he did cover.
Nice.
But they were doing their damnedest to not.
Right.
They almost lost the game, to be honest, if it wasn't for a fumble at the end by Arkansas. But anyway, sneaky good game to watch. I would not be surprised if a high scoring affair here, and people kind of tuning in and following it and saying, "Whoa, that one looks a little interesting." Yeah, unfortunately,
it could get lost to that 3:30 spot, right? Auburn, Oklahoma, Michigan.
Exactly.
So
yeah. Oregon State.
That's true.
But you look at that. I do want to do a quick preview for next week because that's exciting times.
Mm-hmm.
We got some beautiful matchups. Florida State versus Virginia.
Historic. We'll talk more about that come that game.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Might be slightly historic.
USC against potential undefeated Illinois after their win at Indiana. You've got obviously. Then from there, it's just sit down, relax, and enjoy LSU, Ole Miss, which again, Ole Miss may be looking ahead to that LSU game at 3:30.
We love the look ahead games. We really love the sandwich games, but this could be good. I do wonder. LSU plays Southeast Louisiana this week with a probably enormous line. Do they just go through the motions and Southeast Louisiana covers the spread? We'll see.
Let's see. Actually, I think they may be off this week, to be honest.
LSU? I think they play I think they play Southeast Louisiana, right?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the line is not even on the.
Yeah, you'd have to search around to find the line, but I'm sure it's huge.
Sounds like a challenge.
But I'll keep it going while Pipeline Stats and Info looks up the LSU Southeast Louisiana line. LSU, Ole Miss, Auburn at Texas A&M. Even Utah at West Virginia. That's going to, of course, the absolute highlight of the day. Well, two huge highlights. Oregon at Penn State, Alabama at Georgia. And, of course, UMass at Mizzou, which I think we'll all be tuned in for that game. But huge week. I like this week. I don't care what you say. I know you're being contrarian, trying to drive our viewers away, but you can't do it. Pipeline Nation tunes in no matter what.
40-point spread on the LSU game.
Oh, give me plus Southeast Louisiana plus 40.
Here's a good one for you. Kent State, Florida State this week.
Yeah.
The Noles are a 44.5-point favorite. The over-under is 54.5.
Okay. But you think they're looking ahead? You don't think they'd cover? 45 is
no, they're gonna cover. They're gonna boat race them.
Oh,
but
do they clear the total? Over 54.5? Go over.
I would just do the over. Yeah, I would just do the over because I mean, Kent State does have a little bit of firepower, but I mean, I don't think they're gonna keep it close. But I think you get a few like garbage touchdowns to get you the over, and you dance into the sunset.
Nice.
Special bonus pick here. I
Okay.
do have an active bet going on right now that
Yeah.
I am just disgusted with. So I have to share this on the air. I mean, I
Yes.
currently have Devin A. Chain for the Miami Dolphins currently.
Hmm.
Okay. What if I was to tell you I took the over in his receiving yards?
Okay.
What if I was to tell you he has 7 catches? And I was to tell you he's still 8 yards under the receiving total. He has 7 catches. Do you know what his receiving total was, Jason? It was 36 and a half.
So he's 7 catches. He's under 30 yards.
Yes.
That's amazing. I wonder
with a 15-yard long.
there had to be a screen pass or something that he lost.
There was 4 screen passes he lost 2 yards on.
Nice. Oh man, great stuff.
I should have just taken. He's been targeted 9 times. Should have just taken his receptions. I knew he was going to get the ball. I was like, well, let me just take the receiving yards. That'd be easy. It's never easy. It's never damn easy.
Never.
By the way, Dolphins tied at 21-21.
I know you're trying to kill my survivor pick. You're doing everything in your power to kill my survivor pick in my season in week 3. Get me out of the money.
Fun fact on this, and we'll leave the viewers on this so they can have a vote of confidence on me. Survivor pick, lost my first pick out the gate. I don't remember what I picked. I was disgusted with whatever I picked. I was mad. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a new entry, and I'm going to do the Monday night game. Lost that one too.
Let's stick with parlays and hedging,
yeah, currently
maybe betting for and against Lane Kiffin. So
thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it. We're gonna have much more fun stuff coming up. Big week next week, but let's enjoy.
Always big week. Big week this week. We'll have some fun. We'll do some great things. That'll do it this week on Pipeline Award-winning show. Make sure you tune in next time. Tell your friends, tell your families, tell your lovers. Hopefully it's not all the same people. We'll see you guys next time.